Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and it's time for that live stream show. Hopefully everybody's excited for a good time tonight. Good to be back, and good to have you in studio with us tonight, y'all. And happy Sunday night. It is Sunday night, November 12th. And we are going to be talking fishing, answering questions, talking about weather, showing you what we're catching, and so much more. Plus, of course, giving away free fishing trips. So if you want a chance to win $1,500 in free trips, watch the show every Sunday night. You do have to watch live. If you're not watching live, you don't have a chance to win. If you are watching live, you do have to watch the entire show. You can't leave and come back. Can't pop in and out. You do have to stay present during the show. The way you win is you comment one time. You're entered for a chance to win. You do have to comment on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. You can watch on YouTube. You can watch on Trovo. You can watch on Twitch, Instagram, wherever you want to watch is fine. But in order to be eligible to win, you have to comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. Once you've commented, you're entered for the random name generator drawing. And how that works, guys, is randomly throughout the show, we'll let you know we're going to do a giveaway, and when we do a giveaway, it'll kind of appear random names on the board, and someone will get picked as a lucky winner. We'll announce it, you'll see it on the screen, and then you'll have 5 minutes or less to claim your free trip by texting us at that phone number at the bottom of the screen. So make sure you watch live, make sure you claim your free trip within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. And with that, also want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle. If you haven't stopped in to see our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle, make sure you do so. They're at 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Also, make sure you give our friends at our supporters group a big shout as well. We want to show some love to our supporters out there, everybody in our supporters group who makes this show possible. It's only $4.99 a month. It's a huge, huge help to us. It helps drive the show. You get private access to the private supporters group. You get some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, a little bit more communication, a little bit more one-on-one time. And it's a good time, a good community of folks as well. So join the supporters group. Josh just dropped the link into the chat there. We also have a page coming soon on our website, or is it already up?
No, this week.
Oh, this week. It's coming soon where you'll have all that information on the website too. So stay tuned for that as well. So great support there from our supporters group, of course. And then, of course, all the stars senders on Facebook. For those watching on YouTube, Trovo, Twitch, the stars are a way for you to show support on Facebook, and it just helps to fuel the show. So that really helps us a lot as well. So we had a lot of star senders to get us started tonight. We had James McCullum with 500 stars. Thanks, buddy. Keith White, what's up, man? Sam Lang with the big 490. Jim Evans. Frank Pender with 900. Thank you, Frank. Jasmine Marie. Lance Hall with a big 3,000. Angie Darlene with 500. Thank you. Christina Hall with a big 3,000. Jeff Reedy with 2,400, LaShonda Brown, Richard Blazak, Scott Flynn, Ryan Kelly, and Richard Bedwell ending us up with 500 stars. Thank you guys so much. Means a lot and definitely helps us out quite a bit doing the show. Also want to make sure that we encourage everybody to comment on the show, on the post, on the stream. If you comment, if you like, if you share, it helps us to reach more people. So please make sure you comment at least one time. Tell us where you're watching from. Make sure you like the video or give it a thumbs up on YouTube. And if you can, make sure you share it as well. That really helps to spread the word and reach more people. And then, of course, don't forget, every week you got to tell someone about the show and get them to join you on the following Sunday. That's also very helpful. Every show we kind of started out by showing you what we've been catching, what's going on now. Then we talk a little bit about the weather. Then we get into your questions. That's kind of the format of the show. And then randomly throughout, we sprinkle in some free giveaways. So we might as well get started right and show you some photos and get into what we're catching now inshore, and then we'll work our way near shore and then offshore. So let's see here what's going on inshore. Inshore wise, we've got some good action. Hitting the wrong button, a little rusty over here. There we go. So inshore wise, I don't think I changed the screen effectively. Oh, there it is. All right, so inshore-wise, we're seeing a lot of the flounder action. Just remember, flounder are closed until December 1st. A lot of people are confused on that. You cannot keep flounder until December 1st. They're closed for a spawning season protection. So we are seeing a lot of flounder being caught, but unfortunately, you can't keep them right now. The mackerel are around in big numbers. We're seeing a lot of mackerel around our Bay Area bridges, fishing piers, local jetties, a lot of good areas for the mackerel. The mangrove snapper inside the bay around rock piles, we're seeing a lot of the mangrove snapper. They've kind of retreated off the dock lines a little bit, a little too cool now, but still some deep water areas. We're finding some mangrove snapper in the bay. Pompano action going real well. We're seeing a lot of pompano around on our beaches, and mostly kind of up in the bay, and the back protected bay waters a little bit is more active with the pompano. Bay Area bridges, those little channels, those edges of the grass flats, we're finding a lot of pompano. Redfish action is going well. Excuse me. We're seeing a lot of redfish around our oyster bars, the mangrove shorelines. We're finding a lot of redfish following the big schools of black mullet. We're seeing a lot of redfish, the schoolie-sized fish. Those lower tides, you can find them in areas kind of congregated together. It makes them a little easier to spot as well, but definitely oyster bars are congregating them, and then areas of those mangrove shorelines. Soft plastic paddle tails have been a go-to, but as water continues to cool, shrimp becomes a more and more prolific option. But we have so much whitebait around right now. It's still really a heavy whitebait bite. Sheep's head action. Today, Jose, one of our regulars who fishes with us quite a bit on our 5-hour trip, was waiting for the 5-hour half day to load. He caught 3 sheep's head back to back to back really fast. So the sheep's head bite is fired up inside Johns Pass right now. We're seeing a lot of them off the dock. We're still seeing some snook action too, but back in the back protected and upper bay areas are really where you're finding the snook. They're really kind of tucked back into those creek mouths, river mouths, bayous. A lot of that cooler water has pushed them back. We had a little bit of a warmer weekend, a little bit of a warming trend. They pushed out a little bit, but not as much as I thought they would over this weekend. They definitely didn't stack back up in the passes like we saw on the last big warm-up. So they're kind of hanging back more, but there is some good active snook bites around the area if you can find those areas where they're staged up, hiding from the cooler water. We're seeing a lot of trout action. The trout bites going really well. Those potholes and pockets tend to congregate the trout, and the speckled trout get a little bit more aggressive this time of year as that water temperature cools down. We see a lot more of the trout action around the areas like grass flats and dock lights, bridge lights, especially on this new moon. We'll see a lot of the trout action around Johns Pass kind of pick up a little bit, especially in the early morning hours. We'll work our way near shore and offshore and show you guys what we're catching near shore and offshore. The hogfish bite has been absolutely stellar. We are just crushing the hogfish. Today's 10-hour trip caught 20 hogfish. Thursday's 10-hour trip, very similar. Just really, really doing well on the hogfish. Every 10-hour trip, I get a text, hey, we got them. We got a ton of fish. We got a ton of hogfish, bunch of lanes, bunch of mangroves. It has just been very, very consistent out there, and today was awesome. We expected it to be awesome today because it's ahead of that new moon, ahead of that weather, and it really, really, really paid off nicely. So fishing was great today. The Flying Hub 2 crushed them today too. We'll get to that in a minute as well, but hogfish action is happening now. If you've wanted to catch a hogfish, this is the time to get them. This is the time of year to get them. Got lighter loads during the week and some really, really good opportunities to catch plenty of those hogfish on our 10-hour trip. You get a chance for them on the 5-hour trip. We're seeing a lot of them on our private charters. The 10-hour is the party boat trip to be on, though, to target the hogfish. If you have the time and the budget, the private charter is a great way to go, too. But the 5-hour gives you a chance for them. If you don't have the time or the budget for the 10-hour, or especially the more expensive private charter, a 5-hour will give you a shot at the hogfish. Plus, you could troll on the way out and catch these mackerel, maybe even a kingfish. Deeper offshore, just absolutely just destroying the fish. Deeper offshore, the 39-hour trip, the 12-hour extreme trip, we are doing amazing. The 39-hour trips are averaging 20, 25 people. The one coming up this Friday is going to leave with like 18 people on it. It's got super, super light loads on these 39-hour trips, and we're catching massive mangrove snapper and lots of them. Big yellowtails, big vermilions, big porgies. We're seeing muttons, African pompanos, tilefish. We're seeing so much variety. Almaco jacks, triggerfish, scamp grouper, strawberry grouper, just really, really doing well. And it's a good time to get out there. And light loads, you got a lot of one-on-one time. The 12-hour extreme trip today only had 12 people on it, perfect weather, and they had a boat limit of triggerfish, a bunch of big mangroves. They had a big hogfish, big mutton. The 39-hour trips are similar. We're seeing a lot of these mutton snapper here. We're seeing a lot of big fat yellowtail. Look at that mutton. Beautiful, beautiful mutton snapper. And we're seeing a lot of them. Scamp grouper, lots of the red hind, the rock hinds, the strawberries, the triggerfish, the big fat vermilion snapper. There's some of the yellowtails that we were talking about. Solid, solid, solid fish. So it's pretty impressive, even though there's other species that are closed and people are concerned, well, if red grouper's closed, if guy grouper's closed, what am I going to catch? What do we get to keep? We're seeing so many different varieties of fish. We're fishing a little lighter. We're fishing a little bit more unique. We have more time. We have more techniques to try. We have more room on the boat. So it's just a really good time to get out there and enjoy it. If you're a local, if you happen to be in town this time of year, take advantage of these weather windows. Fish the weather windows. It's all about timing your trip right. This past weekend, for example, we had gorgeous weather Saturday and beautiful weather today. If you go outside right now, the wind is already kicked up. That wind is going to kick up now. It's going to start picking up. So the weather windows are what it's all about. And let's get into the weather now, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So if you go to hubbardsmarina.com, right on our homepage, you'll get a nice little pop-up about our 2024 calendar. It's pretty legit. You should check it out. Maybe get yourself one. But if you click out of that, hit fishing trips, scroll down here to the weather links page, which is the second option that I always pass every Sunday night. And then right on our weather links page, we're going to start in our 5 and 10 hour forecast area. Under Wind Finder. Thank you for taking that for me, Josh. Taking one for the team. But you can see here what I mean. Sunday, the weather was beautiful. Very moderate winds, less than 10 mile an hour, less than 1 foot. And then tomorrow it's going to be blowing 20, 25 with seas building very quickly. So the weather window that I'm talking about is Sunday ahead of this bad weather. Plus, Monday we have a new moon too. So not only are you ahead of the bad weather, but you're ahead of the moon. So today was a really great fishing day for that reason. All the variables came together and it paid off. So everybody who went fishing today had really good luck. And we should see similar effects here on the backside of the weather. So it's going to be pretty breezy, it looks like. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then it's going to calm down Thursday, and Friday looks really, really nice. And even into the weekend looks pretty decent. So fishing should be real good the second half of the work week, late work week, as we get into that nicer weather on the backside of this wind. Keep in mind, Tuesday, Monday, starting tomorrow, all the way through Thursday is going to be breezy, really breezy. But it is out of the east. So that means we could probably still fish our 5 and 10 hour trips and probably still have a good opportunity to catch some fish near shore. Offshore is going to be kind of out of the question with that wind, but we'll probably be able to get out there and do our 5 and 10 hour trips. We just have to fish a little bit closer, but that's where the hogfish are. We're going to hop over to our spaghettimodels.com, our friend over at Mike's weather page, Mike Boylan, and look at what's causing this wind. So tomorrow the wind really picks up, and over here you can see why we have that east wind being created by this little occluded front. This is what's called an occluded front. It's not a high pressure, or it's not a high, it's not a low, it's an occluded front. And then we have this little barrier of weather, kind of more of a rainy pattern on the east coast of Florida. So this is going to rip the wind across the state in that easterly flow. Then day after tomorrow, so this is Tuesday, you can see that weather, that rain chance is going to spread out a little bit, and this occluded front doesn't really go anywhere. So this front is stalled out, and it's just going to train that east wind on us, sucking weather towards this little low boundary over here off of Louisiana. And then as we get into Wednesday, you can see nothing really changes much. That low is hanging out. The occluded front is stalled out. Thursday, it's still here and it's still creating that windy weather. And then it's going to start calming down and relieving. Friday should be nicer weather, and wind shifts out of the north, but it's weak. That's the cold front. So Friday, we'll get a little bit of a weak cold front, probably Friday early morning, Thursday night. And it looks like it's going to be a really weak front. So not much wind to it. Probably not much effect on the fishing. So I don't know. Definitely the best fishing was yesterday and today. Second half of the work week, you should have a pretty good chance at it. But that little cold front there might mess things up a little bit, might slow things down a little bit. And it will be interesting to see how all of that plays out, because that's really hard to forecast. They're guessing at what multiple troughs of weather are going to do. So that makes it really difficult for forecasters and forecast models to pick up on. So most likely that tells me that the forecast is going to fluctuate pretty heavily for this week. So I'd stay tuned for sure. Let's see here. We have some stars coming through. D. Beers with 500 stars. Thank you so much. Tim Dykes with 600. Thank you, buddy. Joe Crump, what's up, buddy? Richard Harcourt with a big 550 stars. Thank you, Richard. Frank Pender with another 200 on top of the 9 he's already sent. Tony Barnes with 300. Thanks, buddy. And then Christina Hall with a big 1,200. Thank you, Christina and the Hall family. Hopefully you outfished your other half, Lance, today. She was talking a little smack this morning, saying she was going to catch the most on the 10 hour. So interested to hear in the comments who caught more today. Was it Lance or Christina? Let's find out. Now with that, we talked a little bit about the weather, what's going on now. We showed you what we're catching. It is time to get into some questions. So remember, if you have questions that you want answered live during the show, you have to text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. So make sure you text in your questions. If you have a question you want answered, or you have a topic you want covered during the show, this is a Q&A show. I don't want to talk at you. I want to talk with you. So make sure you text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen your question. But before we get into questions, let's do our first live giveaway of the night. Remember, we have a 5-hour half day for 2, a 10-hour all day for 2. We have a Hubbard's Marina swag pack to give away, and that 39-hour trip for 1 as well. So lots of stuff to give away. So make sure you're watching live, and don't forget to claim your free trip by texting us at the full phone number there, your full home address within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. All right, so first live giveaway of the night. Let's give away our 5-hour half day for 2 guests. 5-hour half day for 2 goes to Brittany Butler from St. Petersburg. Congratulations, Brittany. You just won a 5-hour half day for 2 guests. So you get to go fishing and enjoy some free fun in the sun. So let's see what questions we have, and we'll get rolling into the show here. When will Regulars Club signups begin? Signups will begin December 1st for new Regulars Club members. Those who want to join for the new club membership, again, December 1st at 11 a.m. is when our 2024 schedule comes out, and also when our 2024 Regulars Club opens. Regulars Club renewals for those who are already members will happen the week of Thanksgiving. I'll probably be starting that week of Thanksgiving, so stay tuned. We'll be sending you some emails. Our Regulars Club Christmas party and our Supporters Club Christmas party. Anybody in our Supporters group and our Regulars Club are invited to our special appreciation party. That is Saturday, December 16th at 4 to 7 p.m. inside the waiting area. So hopefully we'll see you all out for that. Our strawberry groupers invasive. Why no size limit? There's no size limit on those little Graysbees because there isn't a concern about the health of the stock, and also they have a very high mortality rate because they're so small. So if there was a size limit, they're all pretty small, right? So that would mean we'd have to throw back quite a few of them. If like the size limit was 10 inches, we'd be throwing back a lot of them. And typically if you throw one back, it just floats away and dies because they're so small. And we catch them in deeper water, and they have a lot of mortality, discard mortality from barotrauma. So because of that, there is no size limit, because that means retention prevents what's called a regulatory discard. When regulations force you to discard the species of fish, then that creates a higher discard mortality rate, right? So if they know the discard mortality rate is really high, if at all possible, there isn't going to be a bag limit to prevent any regulatory discards. So that way you keep and fully retain your species and you're not wasting the fish. So that's the reason why. They're good eating fish, definitely not invasive, but that's why there's no size limit on them. We've got Captain Mike Anderson on the phone. What's going on, Captain Mike? I think we have Captain Mike. He's getting on the phone, is what I meant to say.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I am. I got you.
Nice.
I got you.
No phone problems on the live show.
Right?
That was brutal Saturday.
Yeah, I think we had some problems today too, I think.
Yeah, I called in and it didn't seem to be a problem for the second hour.
Oh, good.
But I missed the first hour. I was a little busy, so who knows?
Yeah, I had some guys texting me saying they were having trouble getting in, so I'm not sure what was going on.
Weird, man. Good old fancy new studios. Always causing problems.
That's
but
right.
How's the fishing going? You had a tournament going on yesterday, right? And
yesterday and today, actually. I had two events, and the bite was a little tough for both events, which I was surprised. New moon, they were fishing the incoming tides. I thought it would have been better, and it was a little slow, and I don't really know, what the reason for it is. I've been thinking about it all day, and one of the best things for me personally about fishing is as soon as you think, hey, new moon incoming, we don't have any front, we don't have any wind, this should be perfect. Weather's good, and it's not. And the one thing about fishing is it always keeps you on your toes. I've had people, I swear now, like, listen, you do not want me to take you fishing today. It's going to be horrible. We just had a front come through. It's going to be miserably cold. The water comes down. The wind's going to blow. And they beg you, hey, we're sitting in our hotel, take us fishing. And we get out there, and every single spot you hit is phenomenal. And they look at you the whole day, reeling in fish like you're an absolute moron. And that's just, that's fishing. I mean, you can put together the puzzle in pieces by what you think you know, and then Mother Nature throws you a curveball. It's just kind of how it works. So, and that's what we had here the last 2 days. It was a little tough.
You never know until you find out. There's one way to find out, right?
Yeah. I tell all my customers when I leave the marina in the morning, some days I'm pretty good at this. Some days I'm not. I'll let you know when we get back to the marina what today was. It doesn't really matter what we did the day before. I mean, you think it does, and you put your plan together based on how the day was earlier. If you went somewhere and there was no good fishing, you didn't want to go back there. And if you went somewhere and the bite was really good, sometimes you go back, 24 hours later and the bite's just not what it was the day before. So it's a constant challenge. I'm super excited to see the kingfish here. Of course, I'm back on the water this week, and the wind's going to blow apparently. So
a little bit.
That doesn't look so great. Yeah, a little bit of weather. So
just 30 miles an hour. No big deal.
Yeah, no big. Stopping a 30 spot on us. It's all good.
Yeah, we can handle that. So that's why we have the 26 bay.
How was the King of the Beach? I didn't get any reports on the King of the Beach.
So big fish was 40.38 pounds. A law firm company that is not a known team won it, and
cool.
They were not in the Calcutta. So cool. I was looking at the winnings. I was just looking at the winnings before the show started. So second place was Blackfin Fuels. First place was some law group, I forget the name. But first place won $54,000 in total. Second place was in all the Calcuttas, and they won $58,000.
Oh.
Yeah, so literally that first place team would have $48,000 more winnings. They would have taken home just about $100K if they were in all the Calcuttas. Brutal, right?
Yeah, my guess is they're probably happy with the money they took.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
They weren't very confident. Yeah, they weren't very confident about catching the big fish. So
apparently
it's all
not.
Good.
Yeah, but a 40-pound fish is pretty healthy, and a lot of people caught fish. That was the news that I took away. You want to hear another funny one? Is our bait team, our gentleman who catch bait for the marina, Brian Harris, and his friends, and even Butch, who is one of our galley cooks on one of our boats, is part of this fishing team. They named themselves Team Breakfast Beer. You can extrapolate out of that why. But
I love it.
Team Breakfast Beer went out there. They had two really nice kingfish. One caught pretty close to shore in Blinds Pass. One caught pretty close to shore off of Clearwater. They were having some boat troubles, so they didn't go very far. They didn't go very fast. But they caught two pretty nice kings. They weighed them in. And get this, they won $2,023 because they were the closest to 20.23 pounds. But they didn't know they won. They didn't show up to the award ceremony, so thus they forfeited the money.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, brutal. So some funny and heartbreaking stories out of King of the Beach. But I think it was the first King of the Beach tournament that I've seen in, I don't know, a long time that had perfect weather. So it was pretty nice in that respect. Over 400
If you'd have
boats.
asked me, had I just seen the weather, and you'd have asked me, hey, was the King of the Beach this weekend? I'd have said, no way.
No. No shot.
Possible.
Yeah.
No shot. Because the King of the Beach, whatever they do, Old Salt's usually schedule it on a weekend that there's going to be wind. And this year they didn't do it. So
I don't know how that works out, but it's always seemingly rough on King of the Beach weekends.
Always.
Then the next one is April 24th, 25th, and looking forward to that spring tournament, which normally has more boats and brings with it some more funny stories. So should be a good time for sure.
Yeah. The guys I talked to that fished this week, a lot of my 866 game fish guys, they had really good kingfish bites. There was a couple schools of big oversized reds that we normally see near shore on the hard bottom areas on the wrecks and reefs. This time of year, several boats caught big giant bull reds, lots of bonita, lots of Spanish mackerel, lots of small and medium-sized kingfish. So that nearshore bite was really, really good this week. Hopefully this weather won't screw it up. The bait was super easy to get from everything I heard. So it should be, it should be interesting. Inshore, snook, redfish, trout, all really, fairly plentiful heading up towards that moon. Then there was even the bycatch, the snook, the ladyfish, all that stuff was good as well. So
the bait The bait is actually a problem in John's Pass. So the problem that we're having, that I've witnessed now at least twice, is these boats pull up and they get up on the bow and they got their net all ready and they throw this beautiful, perfect spiraling pancake open right on the bow of the dinner boat, or right at the fenders of John's Pass, or right at the bow of the Florida in the morning. There is so much bait that if you get a perfect opening with a big 12-foot net and some 1/4-inch mesh, they can't pull the net back in the boat. So this guy had to cleat off his cast net and drag his net over to the beach and beach his boat. It was hilarious.
Well, all you really have to do, which is the key to that, is to pull that net up where you can reach the horn, and then just pull up on one side of it and open a side or two of it, then reclose it. Let some of that bait escape.
Not if they're all Christmas tree in the net. This kid was struggling.
Well, that's a different. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, obviously the Christmas tree, a whole nother nightmare.
Yeah.
But I've had that situation many, many times. For me, it's usually I probably got enough, but I think I'll throw one more time. And you throw that one more time, and you get like 7,000 pieces. That if you'd got that throw the first time, you'd have been done. You'd only have to throw once. It's usually how that works.
Yeah.
You got money, you got a little greedy, and now you got too much. But I talked to the boys this morning. We did a Hard Rock event out of Getaway this morning over there off of Gandy, and everybody I talked to said it was 1 or 2 throws. They were 1 or 2 and done this morning. Some of the bait out on the beach and at some of the Bay Area bridges and markers was super clean. No thread fins mixed in, all pilchards, just beautiful bait. So
nice.
It's good to hear. I'm fishing this week, so. We got bad weather. The bait will probably disappear. All the above. It'll get interesting.
They know Capt Mike has a tournament coming.
Yeah, well, Capt Mike's got some charters too, so that'll probably booger me all up. But that's all right. It is what it is. We'll see what Mother Nature gives us. We'll go fishing and try and catch them up. I heard the bite's been good, like I said, other than yesterday and today, which was kind of puzzling to me. But hopefully we can get on some fish this week, catch them up.
Yeah, definitely a lot of sheepshead around. That's been the big news around the docks. A lot of sheepshead, and they're super active already. And it's kind of weird because we're still seeing the mangroves around too, so it's kind of everything's mixing still. We got that transition period.
Yeah, it's way early for the sheephead to be firing off, but, hopefully that means, January, February, which are normally heavy, big time sheephead action. Hopefully that means we're headed for a really, really epic February of when the females get here and the giants show up. It should be pretty fun fishing.
A really sheepy winter.
A sheepy winter. Well played, my friend. Well played. You're spending too much time with a microphone in front of you, okay?
Yeah.
You just calm down, big dog. Sheepy, I like it.
All right, man. I appreciate it, brother. And man, that was a good effort today by the Packers. I was pulling for them.
I knew we weren't going to win. We haven't won in Pittsburgh in 53 years.
Really?
Bart Starr and Terry Bradshaw were the quarterbacks when Green Bay went to Pittsburgh and won the last time. Favre never won in Pittsburgh, and Rodgers never won in Pittsburgh.
That's crazy.
Now we beat Pittsburgh in a Super Bowl. Rodgers beat Pittsburgh in a Super Bowl, and I'm sure that'll go over big with your Pittsburgh fan listeners, but it's true. And then today, we didn't play well enough to win, but I thought we did some good things. There was some stuff that I thought they improved on, and some stuff that seems to be the same. It's a super young team, so you can't expect to go in and beat a really good defense like Pittsburgh has and a great coach like Mike Tomlin. It would just and again they had a shot right down to the end, really.
Almost.
So. Yeah, almost. And that's it. They were in it. They're playing hard, and that's what you want to see out of a young team like Green Bay right now. So, good stuff. And a big win for the Bucs, too. The Bucs needed to rebound, and they rebounded and played really well, so that was good.
Yes, sir.
Good stuff. And we still got football tonight, so life is good.
There it is. Well, I appreciate it, Capt Mike. Thanks for the phone call, my friend.
Thanks for having me, brother. Have a great night. I appreciate you.
All right, man. See you, bud.
See you, buddy.
Always a pleasure hearing from Capt Mike and adding to the show there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Inshore update. It is time to give away another free trip, and then we'll get right into the questions once again. So we gave away our 5-hour half day for 2 guests. Let's give away our Hubbard's Marina swag pack. Lucky winner of the swag pack is Eddie Rod. Congratulations, Eddie. You won the Hubbard's Marina swag pack. That's a t-shirt, hat, and other assorted items. Make sure you text us your full home address to the phone number at the bottom of the screen within 5 minutes, and also include your t-shirt size so we can send the right appropriate size out to you as well. Next question, when does hogfish season close? There is no season on hogfish, so they're open 24/7, 365 for now, but the hogfish bite best in those cooler months. So we start to see the hogfish real heavily around October, and they bite really well all the way through till about April, May, and then they slow down a little bit. We get peak hogfish numbers really kind of November through April-ish. That kind of tends to be the typical peaks for sure. All right, let's see here. What other questions do we have? What's better, mono or fluoro for grouper? Well, right now, because grouper are closed, except for scamp grouper and strawberry grouper, we're fishing a little lighter. I personally like fishing fluorocarbon myself. There's been a lot of studies done, specifically by Salt Strong. Luke Simons has done a lot of research around fluorocarbon versus mono, and some of this newer mono really has the same breaking strength as some of the fluorocarbons. It's really just finding about what you're confident and comfortable with. The big thing is changing it up. What I find is someone will tie a leader and then use that leader until they break off. And that's not a good idea. If you're catching a few fish, typically you catch a handful of fish, you have to change that leader. You have to cut your leader and retie it. So be very conscious. What I kind of do out of muscle memory is when I catch a fish and I reel up and I get the fish off the hook, and then I go to rebait. As I rebait, before I rebait, I'm visually looking at my line. And then as I rebait, a lot of times I'll just run my fingers up the line. If I feel a nick, if I see a knot, if I see some abrasion, if it just starts to look a little bit more less translucent, more opaque, it means the line has been stretched. So think about like an ice cube, right? An ice cube is nice and clear, but if you let it sit out or you squirt some water on it, it starts to have stress cracks in it, and it starts to become more opaque. It's harder to see through. It's less clear. That's what happens with that mono and that fluorocarbon. As you catch a fish and it stretches and it really is, pressure is put onto it, it has these little minuscule stress cracks, and it becomes less clear. It becomes more opaque. It becomes more stressed, and the lifespan of that line is severely shortened and reduced. So I always recommend switching out leaders pretty frequently. If you catch a couple fish, look at your line. You can typically feel the leader. You'll feel some stress cracks in it. You'll feel some abrasiveness. You'll be able to see that it's starting to look a little less clear, a little bit more smoky, and that's a good idea to just cut it and retie it. So definitely a good idea to keep an eye on it. But for me, I like personally using fluorocarbon. Whether a fluorocarbon or monofilament is better, it's kind of personal preference. But to me, I like fluorocarbon. Let's see, what other questions do we have? When you were talking to Mike, you said the person had a Christmas tree. What does that mean? So when you throw your cast net around a bait school, let's say you have 1/4-inch mesh and you throw it around a bait school of very small greenbacks, they're going to swim into the mesh and they get stuck. So they don't fall out of the net. They're sticking through the net. And it literally looks like a Christmas tree. You raise your cast net up, and it's just all these little minnows, all these little baby greenbacks and whitebait stuck in the net. It is a nightmare situation, and they're all gilled and stuck on the gill plates, and you have to like one by one go through there and get them all out. It's a nightmare. It's a really big challenge to clean the net. You can kind of shake it. There's some methods about it, but Christmas tree bait net is not a good thing. Christmas tree cast net with whitebait is not a good thing. Next question was about our Fishing for Hope event. Thank you for reminding us. Definitely something I was going to get around to, but I'm glad it was brought up and prominently made as a reminder. Fishing for Hope is the event that's coming up this Saturday. So 6 days from today, myself, Captain Mike, Captain Bill Miller, Captain Glenn Plaw, a bunch of folks are going to be over there at Fishing for Hope. It is the Metropolitan Ministries holiday tent at 2609 North Rome Avenue. So 2609 North Rome Avenue in Tampa. The holiday tent at Metropolitan Ministries is what you're looking for. We're going to be over there from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're going to be collecting frozen turkeys, frozen hams, any non-perishable food items, canned goods, peanut butters, that kind of thing. Josh is putting the link in the chat. If you can't make it out to the event in person, you can donate online as well. On the metromin.org website, you can find the donation information. You can find what food they're looking for. You can find the list of stuff that they're bringing. Metromin.org. Again, it's 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. This coming Saturday, November 18th. We're going to be over there at Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Tent, 2609 North Rome Avenue. And we are looking for a few volunteers for anybody who wants to come and actually help unload the vehicles. It's going to be a good time, and we definitely collect a lot of food, and it's a lot of fun. So we'd love to see you out there. And if you do want to come and volunteer, you don't need that link, Josh, because we are actually a little different. So if you go through the Metropolitan Ministries, you can volunteer through Metropolitan Ministries, but you have to go through like this whole volunteer process, and you're actually working inside the tent. It's pretty cool. So I do recommend doing that. But for us, for our event from 9 to 1, you don't actually have to fill anything out volunteer-wise officially. You just show up and help us unload vehicles. But definitely check it out, and we'd love to see you there. Again, that's November 18th from 9 to 2, looking for frozen turkeys, that kind of stuff. If you're not in town, if you're from out of state, if you're not going to be around, you can go on their website and just donate. We're trying to collect a bunch of food and money. How it works is it's this big, huge tent, and families can sign up, and they can actually go in there, and they get led around the tent. And then from there, they can actually pick and choose and kind of get guided around on what to do to have a Thanksgiving meal. So basically, it's Thanksgiving meals for families in need. So check it out, and we hope to see you there at November 18th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., Saturday, November 18th. All right, questions. Let's see here. What do we got? Good question, though. The other event coming up is Final Friday, so don't forget that as well. It's going to be a pie cooking contest. Whoever makes the best pie is going to win the contest. I'm going to be the one eating the pie. But definitely going to be fun. Oh, good question and frustrating question, all in the same. Someone asked, is there any additional word on red grouper opening? Got to take a deep breath before I answer that one. So for those of you who are watching the video, if you're interested in some of the fishing rules and regulations stuff, I recommend following the Captain Dylan Hubbard page. We don't share everything on the Hubbard's Marina page. Some of the more fishing regulations, fishing politics stuff gets shared on the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page, the Captain Dylan Hubbard YouTube, or the Captain Dylan Hubbard Instagram, and Facebook page. So Josh is going to share the link in the chat, but we did an in-depth video on what happened with red grouper, and it was about 15 minutes long, so I don't want to cover everything because it's not great, and it's kind of frustrating. But there's a video. I'm standing in the backyard of my home. It's dark outside, so as you go to the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page, you can scroll through the videos. It's easy to see which video I'm talking about because it's the only one that I filmed at night, and it's easy to catch it. And then that kind of goes into the whole thing. But basically, Wave 4 data came out, and what's really frustrating is the first 6 months of the year, we landed 62% of our red grouper quota. Then there was only 19 more days of season, right? Because the first 6 months of the year, January 1 through June 30th, was the majority of our red grouper fishing. The red grouper fishery this year closed down July 19th. So the first half of the year, we landed 62% of our red grouper quota. July 1st through July 19th, the final numbers just came out. They claim that we caught another 70% of our red grouper quota in those 19 days. So it took us 6 months to catch 60%, but somehow in 19 days we landed another 70%. So we actually ended up overfishing our red grouper quota by 30%. We have a total of 130% of the quota landed. So that is the third year in a row that NOAA Fisheries has failed our recreational sector in properly projecting the season and have allowed overfishing to occur. Recreational fishermen fish when the season is open, right? We don't purposely overfish, but if the season's open, we're going to go fishing, we're going to go catch and keep those fish. Season was left open, we caught and kept those fish. We ended up overfishing our quota, or so the data claims, so the data shows. I think there's a big error here, and it needs to be reviewed and readdressed and hopefully fixed. But definitely check out that video. I go more in depth into it, and it's definitely frustrating. The good news of that Wave 4 data is the fact that we will not see a closure in our mutton snapper, our lane snapper, our vermilion snapper, our midwater snapper. Some of those species we were concerned about potentially having a quota closure this year. We will not have those quota closures. So no lane snapper closure. So that is the good news of this data that came out. But no red snapper season extension, no red grouper season extension. And if anything, we're screwed on the red grouper, because not only does this show that we can't get a season this year, but it's the third year we overfished again. So that means next year we won't get a catch level increase in this healthy fishery. The fishery is getting healthier. We're catching more of them more quickly. So the season keeps getting shorter because we're catching them more quickly because there's more of them out there. And we can't increase the catch level because they keep not doing their job properly and keep allowing these overages to occur. So the overage occurred, they can't increase the catch level. So next year our season, our projection is probably going to get shorter. I'm guessing that according to the numbers that they showed, the projection next year is probably going to be like April or May. So red grouper open automatically January 1st, and there's a good chance we're going to hear an announcement that they're going to close April, May, early June next year. So we're going to have an even shorter red grouper season next year unless they fix these numbers and address the problem. And I think the underlying problem is just the fact that recreational data collection, there's so much extrapolation and estimation occurring, and we really need to stand up a better data collection system that removes the estimation, removes the uncertainties. And we had that with our Seafire program, but unfortunately the Mexican Gulf Fishing Company sued the agency and got it shut down. So it's really frustrating, the whole situation that we're in, all because we don't have a good recreational data collection program. But we're going to try again and stand up a new program, and we'll see where we go from there. But that's where we're at with the red grouper. Definitely watch the video. It goes into it in more depth. Again, that's on the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page. It's also on our Hubbard's Marina YouTube channel. If you go to our Hubbard's Marina YouTube channel and scroll through recent videos, it's the only video that I filmed where you see my face at night in what looks like a backyard. So it's right there on YouTube as well. What's the best spinning setup for hogfish? line and leader sizes. I would recommend around a 3,000 to 4,000 series spinning reel, no bigger. You could go a little smaller, but not too much smaller, like 2,500, probably as small as you want to go. Lead line, I would put about 25 to 30 pound braid on the spinning reel, and then I'd put about a 15 to 20 foot piece of around 30 pound fluorocarbon or monofilament on top of that braid. Then I put about a 1 to 2 ounce egg sinker on that piece of monofilament, and then I'd put about a 3 or 4/0 hook. I'd use a live shrimp, a fiddler crab, a small blue crab, or a rock shrimp or sand flea, but most people use live shrimp for those hogfish. That would be my go-to hogfish setup, or one of the Rogge's rigs, banana jigs that we sell in our shop is also a good jig as well, instead of the knockout rig. But that's all good options. Let's see here. What's the next question that we had? One more time, I'm sorry. If we want to help sling turkeys instead of going through Metro Ministries, how do we correspond about that? You could just text us. We can help you out and help you get settled up with doing some volunteer work for our November 18th event from 9 to 1. What are the benefits of the Regulars Club? We actually have all the Regulars Club information on our website. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, under fishing trips, scroll down to more info, and under more info, oh, never mind. Josh is showing me. Under fishing trips information, you can hit the Regulars Club info. That's going to bring you to the Regulars Club page. There's a video explaining what the Regulars Club is. There's all the policies and rules at the top. There's the price of the club and what's included. And then there's the discounts on the trips and kind of more information here at the bottom. So this is all our 2023 club information. We haven't updated this page for our 2024 clubs, but I can tell you that it's not going to change very much, if at all. So prices for next year, the cost of goods, the cost of fuel, the cost of everything is continuing to go up. And it's really a big struggle, especially payroll, trying to continue to pay our people well. It's been a big challenge as well, but we are planning on not raising prices, if at all possible, for next year because everybody's struggling. And we've had to raise prices the last few years in a row, and we don't want to continue that trend if and when possible. So next year, planning on not increasing prices on anything to my knowledge at this time. So excited to announce that, and yeah, should be a great year next year. Let's see here. We have a little bit more time. Let's do our last giveaway, or not our last giveaway, but our 10-hour all-day giveaway. Then we have our 39-hour giveaway that we end the show on. So our last giveaway before the 39-hour giveaway. And then we'll get into a few more questions and wrap up the show. So 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Nick from Canton, Michigan. Congratulations, Nick, with that lucky win of your 10-hour all-day trip for 2 guests. Remember, you got 5 minutes or less to claim that free trip, so make sure you text us at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. We appreciate it, Nick. Next question is, my wife fed me Duke's light mayonnaise today. Should I be upset? I think that is a serious discussion you and your wife need to have. Duke's, not only Duke's mayonnaise, but light Duke's mayonnaise. That's a problem. My wife one time bought, it was like the Hellman's Natural. It was like olive oil instead of normal. And I was like, dude, how are we going to make fish with this? This is not okay. Don't even put that in our fridge. It's got to be normal Hellman's mayonnaise, guys. Like that's the family.
Organic Honey Crisps.
Yeah.
Don't even bring them home if they're nothing.
Yes, exactly. Honey Crisp apples or nothing else. That's another rule in my household. Why do hogfish have different head shapes when they are male and female? A lot of species of fish have different anatomies based on their sex. Actually, I guess all species have different anatomies based on sex, but prominent anatomy features, anatomical differences. Hogfish, the male hogfish in the animal kingdom in general, the male species typically is a little bit prettier, except for when it comes to the human race. But like if you look at birds, if you look at fish, if you look at a lot of different animals, peacocks, the male species is going to be a little bit prettier, right? Because they have to work to attract the female mate. So they're working their tails off to be attractive to their female mates. So the male hogfish are more dominant and they get that more bullish head. I think it has everything to do with attracting female mates. But to be honest with you, I don't know off the top of my head. But a male hogfish has definitely got a more predominant bullish kind of forehead, a little bit more kind of aggressive looking in that case, whereas the females have a little bit of a more straight forehead, definitely not so bulbous. You can definitely tell a male from a female hogfish. And the males definitely have more intense color patterns. But again, that's pretty typical in the animal kingdom. The males are going to have a lot more colors to them. There are a lot, I mean, again, not the human race, but animals, the animal kingdom, they're a lot prettier, the male species is typically, because they're working to attract that female mate. They got to work for it. Got to put in the work. How long do you think king mackerel will be around to catch? Kingfish will be around as long as the water temperatures are right. We're already in the pretty low 70s in areas, but it warmed up a little bit. Once it gets and stays in those super low 70s or gets into the 60s, those kingfish will pass us and move south. So it really depends on water temperature, weather, and what's going on there. But a lot of fish have already kind of moved south. A lot of the fish from King of the Beach were caught south of us in Boca Grande, off of Venice. So a lot of kingfish are moving south already, but there's still quite a few being caught in Clearwater north of us. So there's kingfish around. It's just there's not a ton of kingfish around. A couple weeks ago, you were recommending bait for sheep's head, and one of the baits you recommended was a barnacle. What's the best way to hook a barnacle? So people have a lot of questions about that. Barnacles grow on pilings, right? So you take a scraper with you and a bucket, and you tie a line, a rope to that bucket. And what you do is you get that bucket submerged underwater. It's a good idea to cut some holes like halfway up the bucket all the way to the top. So that way you're able to pull it back up. But cut some holes in the bucket. Leave the bottom half of the bucket structurally sound, no holes in the bottom half of the bucket. Sink it, put it alongside of a piling. A square bucket is better, by the way, a square bucket. So that way you can hug it right up against the piling. And then scrape above the bucket. And as you scrape the piling, you're getting barnacles paraphernalia in the water and a bunch of the smell and scent going in the water. But you're also scraping off those barnacles, and a large majority of them will fall into that bucket. And then you do that on a couple pilings in the area you're going to fish, and then all of a sudden you've chummed up the waters and you can pull that bucket up to the dock, and now you have bait. How you hook a barnacle is you flip it over. So the barnacle has a husk. The barnacle is like a little roly-poly animal-looking thing inside that hard shell. They actually form that hard shell around themselves. It's like a little roly-poly animal. It's pretty weird looking. But you take that hard shell, you flip it over, and on the underside of the barnacle has like a little hole, a little circle pattern. You put the tip of the hook right through that little middle point. Basically, it's a round. The barnacle bottom is round. Right in the center of that hole is what you're shooting for. And the barnacles, they work really, really well for bait. And you put 2 or 3 of them on a hook and shoot it down along the side of a piling. and you'll have really good luck on the sheep's head. You just got to pay attention, because as soon as they nibble, that barnacle will come right off the hook. So it definitely is one of those things where you have to pay attention and be on top of your game, because they bite pretty quickly and sometimes kind of softly, and you got to be ready to set the hook. But barnacles are a great bait for sure, or a small piece of shrimp or a fiddler crab. Definitely all good options. Do you still offer shark fishing? Yes, we do shark fishing, typically spring, summer, and into early fall. Wintertime, we don't offer the shark fishing trips because we have less quantity and more quality in the water. Bigger sharks, less quantity. Whereas in the summer, we have more quantity, and there's still some big sharks around, but a lot of smaller sharks, a lot of action. Any word on the extra red snapper or red grouper you were talking about a couple weeks ago? We got screwed big time on both. So no good news there. Nothing this year, unfortunately. Looking for the 2024 schedule, 11 a.m., December 1st. December 1st at 11 a.m., everything comes alive. So if you want to book a 5 or 10 hour or a dolphin tour for 2024, you can book that now. The 10-hour schedule is open for next year. The 5-hour schedule is open for next year. But if you want to book a specialty trip, a 12-hour night trip, a 12-hour day trip, a 39-hour, a 44-hour, those schedules are not up. Those trips are not bookable. No matter how many times you ask, who you ask, you're not going to get that information until December 1st at 11 a.m. It opens up. All right, so with that, we are out of time, but we have the Supporters After Show. So if you have more questions, join us for our Supporters After Show. Remember, you can become a supporter tonight. Anybody can become a supporter. It's only $4.99 a month. Josh is going to drop the link to our new supporters page in the chat. Make sure you check out Becoming a Supporter. It's a great way to help fuel the show, and it also helps you to have more one-on-one communication, more behind-the-scenes info, and you get that invite to December 16th, our customer appreciation party. We'd love to see everybody out there if you're a supporter or in our regulars club. Again, December 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. And then we have Final Friday coming up, November 24th. That is Final Friday. It's Black Friday. All the things. We're going to have a crawfish boil. We're going to have a pie cook-off, which we'll be posting that link tomorrow. We're going to have a raffle going on in the shop. We're going to have killer deals. It's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully we'll see you Final Friday, November 24th. It's Black Friday. All our Black Friday specials are going to kick off. So killer deals, killer time, lots of free food and drink. Hopefully we'll see you out for that event. And hopefully we'll see you on the water and do some fishing and do some catching. Hopefully you enjoyed the show tonight. Remember, if you have a question, give us a shout, shoot us a text. Hopefully we'll see you next week, every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. Don't forget as well, tell a friend every week. Make sure you tell a friend to come see us and join the show. Let's see who won our 39-hour trip for one lucky winner. And then we'll wrap up the show and start our Supporters After Show. We'll kick off at 8:45. 8:45, the Supporters After Show will start. So hop on over to the Supporters Club and join us for that if you can, if you will. 39-hour trip for one goes to... Lucky winner is Mick Dodge from Apollo Beach. Congratulations, Mick, on that lucky win. Hopefully we'll see you guys next week for another episode. Remember, every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m., every Saturday morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., our Real Animals radio show. Every Friday morning, we got Fox 13 News. We're live during the week, often in the morning as well, so stay tuned to our pages. Check out the Captain Dylan Hubbard Facebook page. Make sure you share that video about the red grouper information as well. And remember, sometimes the spammers will make a fake Hubbard's Marina page and start messaging you after a live show. Don't fall for it. We don't message you. Only way you win, it's shown on the screen, and you claim it by texting us. We don't make you click some weird app or make you click some weird URL and give us a credit card number. Those are scams. And we can't control other people making fake pages, so don't fall for it. Got to see that blue check, and we won't message you. We can't message you. On Facebook, it won't allow us to message you. So only way you win is during the show. Don't fall for anything else. Y'all have a good night. Tight lines. Don't forget, if you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Thanks for watching, y'all.